Take a look around you and find someone you don't know. Maybe somebody who doesn't look kind of like you. Are you willing to fight for that person as much as you're willing to fight for yourself?
Senator Bernie Sanders released a new campaign ad showing his rally last weekend. His campaign says more than 25,000 people were in attendance. It was his first rally since his heart attack. Sanders also received an endorsement from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on that same day. She was the second member of the so-called squad to endorse Sanders. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota was the first. And now Sanders is set to hold a rally with a third member, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib of Michigan. I want to bring in Nina Turner. She's co-chair for Senator Sanders' campaign and a former Ohio State Senator. Thank you so much for joining us, Nina.
Pleasure to be here.
So you're going to have Senator Sanders rallying with Congresswoman Tlaib in Detroit. Is he seeking her endorsement? And if so, what would that bring to the campaign?
I mean, just the more strength and vibrancy. The campaign has already been strong, but it enhances, and especially what I like to call the rainbow mosaic, the coalition of people from different walks of life, and particularly women who have decided, and women leaders at that, elected leaders who have decided that the most progressive, the most pro-woman candidate in this race, pro-community candidate in this race is, in fact, Senator Bernie Sanders.
So he is obviously seeking her endorsement, safe to say?
He is.
Yes. A CBS News poll from July found that the members of the squad were viewed unfavorably by about a third of Americans. For instance, 37% of people had an unfavorable view of Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, compared to 23% who had a favorable view. Could their support be a liability ultimately in a general election?
No, I don't think so. I mean, listen, politicians make hard decisions. I certainly understand that. Polls are only snapshots in time. And we also know that as women, and especially women of color, we are often judged more harshly than anybody else, especially if you're an African-American woman. So none of that will, the senator likes the diversity is because of his courage that he showed in 2016, that kind of progressive movement revealed itself in 2018, where women like Congresswoman Ohan or Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez or Congresswoman Tlaib could even not just run, but also win. So this is really a beautiful thing. Those polls don't scare us one bit.
So, as we mentioned, that rally this past weekend had over 25,000 people in attendance. And after the rally, former Trump campaign advisor Michael Caputo said, quote, "I see Bernie as far more formidable now than he ever was." How important was that rally for the campaign? And how do you plan to replicate that kind of energy?
It took the campaign to the next level. I mean, listen, Senator Sanders was pulling very large crowds, even in 2016, as you remember. Mm-hmm. And this was, what a way to come back, to be in Queens and to really come back in such a powerful way. I can tell you, as somebody that was there was a synergy and energy across identities that was right there under that around the Queens Bridge, mm-hmm. that is palpable. And is that kind of palpable grassroots movement that Senator Bernie Sanders has made his mission, which is to build a political revolution. That was a snapshot of the political revolution that we saw right there in Queens.
How do you duplicate that?
Well, we're going to continue to do what we do all over the country, but it's not just about those crowds. I don't want people to get caught up in that, because there's some other crowds I want to talk about, which is the fact that he has 3.3 million donations into this campaign, the largest donor base of any presidential campaign in history, the largest amount of donors than anybody in history. And in 9 days, we had volunteers call into the early states. 1.3 million calls were made into states like Iowa, South Carolina, New Hampshire. So that movement itself, you might not necessarily see that volume of people every single place that we go, but there is a movement that is continuing to bubble up in this country, and it is because Senator Bernie Sanders is not just running to become the next president of the United States of America. He is running to energize the people so that his agenda can be made real.
I want to ask about the state of Wisconsin. There was a poll released today by Marquette University, and it shows Senator Sanders in third place behind Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren. So Senator Sanders, as you know, of course, won the state in 2016. Are you surprised or concerned at all by that showing right now?
We plan to win it again. I mean, polls go up, polls go down. And I'm always honest with folks. Mm-hmm. When you are in politics, when the polls are up, it's a good poll. Mm-hmm. When they're down, they're just a snapshot in time.
Okay.
So that's honest. People, but Listen, there was an Emerson poll that came out that had Senator Sanders and Vice President Biden in a dead heat, as we know. And then among 18 to 29-year-olds, I believe, Senator Sanders had 45% of that vote, and no one was even close. So again, polls are snapshot. The ultimate poll is what's going to happen on Election Day, and that is why we're working so hard, not leaving any voter behind, and making sure that every voter in this country understands that Senator Bernard Sanders wants to earn their vote.
Does the campaign ultimately view this at this moment, right? I know you say polls are a snapshot. He was in third in that Marquette poll. As a three-way contest here between Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Senator Sanders.
I mean, the polls are fluid. Things will change. Our goal is to make sure that Senator wins this nomination and is the person to go head-to-head against President Donald Trump.
After weeks of pressure, Senator Warren has said in recent days that she will explain how she plans to pay for Medicare for All, which of course is championed by Senator Sanders. Do you expect there to be major differences in how she plans to pay for it?
You know, I'm not sure about that. What I can say is that Senator Sanders has not equivocated on Medicare for All. He's been very clear with the American people about what it's going to take to make such an investment, and that overall the American people are going to say they have better health outcomes, and ultimately they're going to save money in this country. That's it. So he is the ultimate champion on Medicare for All. And we shouldn't even equivocate on this.
What's the priority here for the senator in the next couple of days?
Is to continue to get out among the people, let them know he is back, continue to push his agenda of not just hope, but to bend the body politic to the will of the everyday American in this country.
Is he doing more campaign events? I mean, even more.
He's out there. I mean, listen, the senator outpaced everybody in this campaign, as you know, no matter what their age is. So even if the senator is out there and he's doing what he needs to do to make sure people know. And he has folks like me and others around this country who are actually teaming up with him to make sure his message gets out there.
Nina Turner, thank you so much for joining us, Nina.
Thank you so much.